What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. And you know, ever since Ahsoka dropped on Disney Plus, I have seen this one question just circling the internet. Everybody's asking the same question: can Star Wars be saved, right? Or has Ahsoka saved Star Wars? One of those two questions, okay? And you really start to question that when you see stuff like this. And this is on Bounding in the Comics. Elite, the Acolyte trailer declares this isn't about good or bad. It's about power and who's allowed to use it. And the first thing you think of when you hear some stupid quote like this is, damn, this sounds pretentious, man. This whole line of dialogue sounds super pretentious, poorly conceived, like the person that wrote it doesn't even know what they're talking about, right? And I recall the trailer. I remember this Acolyte trailer. I saw it at Star Wars Celebration. I vaguely remember this line of dialogue being used, but it's just more of the same crap that we've been getting from Leslye Headland. Ever since she's announced this show, we've been hearing nothing but crap and BS coming about when it comes to this show, how she sees herself as a villain, or I'm the villain or whatever, you know? I'll link that video above. I did a couple of videos on that if you didn't see that. But yeah, this quote is basically the same thing, right? And this type of pseudo-intellectual bullshit is not going to save Star Wars, all right? First of all, this isn't even her own words. This isn't even something that came out of her own head. This is a spin of a quote that actually does make sense when it's used, you know, from J.K. Rowling. She had Voldemort spitting that to Harry Potter from that first book, right?
There is no good and evil. There is only power. And those too weak to seek it.
And even with that was an oversimplification of the relationships between good and evil and power, all right? But nevertheless, at least J.K. Rowling has some sort of a fundamental understanding of what the statement was related to, which was the morality of slave and master morality. That's Friedrich Nietzsche. So she actually even understood that. I don't think Leslye Headland even considered that shit. I don't think she even understands what it means. I think she just liked the way it sounded. And so, okay, I'm going to use that phrase and I'm going to relate that to myself and my own stupid feminist Marxist ideology. That's where she's going with it. You know, who can use power? Who is allowed to use power? But see, when she uses it this way, it doesn't make any sense because power isn't something that needs permission. If you have power, you either choose to use it or you choose not to use it. You don't need permission to use power. If you need permission to use power, that means you don't have any power, do you? Okay? So I guess you're going to get ready for all of this BS. This is, again, stupidity. The people that are writing this stuff don't know what they're doing. All right? Get ready for the women are oppressed narrative. Women aren't allowed to use power. Get ready for that to just shoot through this entire story. I guarantee it. But yeah, Kathleen and this chick, they just want to make Star Wars into something Star Wars is not. But let's go ahead and read this. A leaked trailer of The Acolyte, which appears to be from Star Wars Celebration in April, features a line of dialogue that declares this isn't about good or bad, it's about power and who's allowed to use. That's just the dumbest line. Now, after that, there's a lot of spoilers in this particular trailer or this article. I don't want to discuss that. You know, if you guys want to go and watch that, go ahead. I'm going to just skip right to this part right here. The line of dialogue in the trailer appears to confirm showrunner Leslye Headland's assertion to Empire that the series will have a heavy emphasis on current day politics. It's more likely the series will provide a heavy dose of intersectional feminist theory in the guise of Star Wars. Headland told Empire, or when you're doing something completely original like we are, like what is she talking about? You're writing in somebody else's franchise. How in the hell is that completely original? You want to question the status quo of the era that you live in. See, this is the problem, man. This is the problem right here. See, this crap right here, this is not Star Wars. You want to question the status quo of the era that you live in. This is not Star Wars, okay? Star Wars is not about that. This is modern Hollywood. This is what Hollywood wants to do. They always want to drill it back to today's society. You know, and some places you can do that, but not in Star Wars. Star Wars is about myth making. George Lucas has said that several times himself. It's about mythology. It's about myth making. It's not about the era that you live in. It's a timeless story that you can tell at any time. All right. It stretches across generations, across centuries even. You know, some of the stuff that George is tapping into are the deep-rooted things about being humans, about being human beings that just stretches across all time. Timeless, okay? That's what a myth is. It's timeless. You can tell that story whenever. You can show Star Wars to somebody 100 years from now and they'll get the message. But this crap today, today's era that we live in, right? This shit is here today and gone tomorrow. And these idiots don't understand that. Again, that's why I say they don't understand Star Wars. George was very crystal clear about what Star Wars is, all right? Especially when it comes to good and evil. He was talking about that. He said what Star Wars was about. Talk to him, George.
It's also based on human behavior, human psychology, mythology, which is the sort of archaeology of human behavior and thinking. And since it has those motifs, it is very universal, and everybody can relate to it.
Yes,
it's about good and evil in us, as well as our institutions.
It's about what?
It's about good and evil.
Hold on, wait. What was it about?
Good and evil.
No, wait, Leslye said it's about power, but you're saying what?
It's about good and evil.
I don't think they heard you over there at Lucasfilm, George. The house you built. What is this about again?
It's about good and evil.
And some of you guys will say, oh, look, DA, that's just a line they used in the show. That's not related in any way to the overall themes of Star Wars. That's what a lot of you guys are saying, and a lot of you guys are wrong, okay? That is absolutely what they're doing. They are giving you the general themes that will resonate throughout this entire show. What I think is so interesting right now is that everybody thinks they're right. The Jedi really think they're right. And George Lucas tells us they're wrong in Phantom. Again, he didn't say that at all right? This chick don't understand Star Wars. I mean, she really doesn't. They missed a huge aspect of the dark side rising. That doesn't mean they're wrong. I already discussed that in that previous video. Check that out. That just felt like fertile ground to look into what's going on for all of us right now. See, again, modern Hollywood, us right now. And George did not write Star Wars to be a us right now story. He wrote that to be timeless. Not only did Headland confirm the show would be a commentary on current American society, culture, and politics, but she seemed to imply the focus of the show being on female villains are self-inserts. When I was a young queer girl, I was just hanging out with Ursula, the sea witch from The Little Mermaid, she told the outlet. As a queer girl growing up, if you don't identify with the heroes and the villains show up and they're all queer-coded, you're like, yes, that's me. See, here it is, folks. Queer. She's using that word over and over again. She's again telling you, I'm putting myself into this entire show, okay? As a queer filmmaker, this is her opportunity to take over. This is the allowed to use power. This is where I think this allowed to use power line is coming from, all right? She's taking the opportunity to insert herself to take over this franchise. That's what it is that she's doing, So, in my opinion, that's how she sees this entire opportunity as a power grab for herself. We're allowed to use the power that we have as a queer filmmaker to come in here and just run roughshod to insert ourselves into this giant franchise, obviously, that we didn't create and that we don't understand, but we're going to do it anyway. All right. You remember how she was saying that there was misogyny, okay, in Star Wars, or there was misogyny in Hollywood because everybody was looking at George Lucas as the answer man, as the guy that was the key to Star Wars. Remember that?
What we understand to be Star Wars, like the idea that like that only came from George Lucas, that only George Lucas holds the key for what we understand to be Star Wars is just untrue. And I think the prequels are an excellent example of that. I mean, the idea that like when you're hiring a director, that everyone is sitting in there waiting for George Lucas and not for the person who's going to know to hire Ralph McQuarrie, that's the problem. That's the misogyny and the problem with the auteur myth as it stands today.
So you see, for the villains, right? For villains like Leslye Headland, it's not about good or evil, or bad or any of that. It's about power, all right? It's about getting power and wielding power. This isn't about saving Star Wars. This is about having power over Star Wars, over the Star Wars fan base. That's what this is about, And honestly, there is an interesting story that you could probably tell with regards to the Sith and their whole side of the Force and everything that they believe in, and maybe even showing the villain's rise to power. But guess what? We've already seen that, okay? We saw that in the prequels, all right? So I think this story that Leslye Headland is telling is just going to be some weak-ass, feminized, feminist ideology version of that story. Back in June of 2021, Headland confirmed the series would be female-centric during an interview with YouTuber Fantastic Frankie. She said, just because my show is technically, yes, female-centric, meaning it centers around a female protagonist, I don't think that necessarily excludes men from that space. It doesn't. No, you're right about that. It doesn't exclude men from that space. Just because you can have a female lead, okay? You can have a female lead character, even in a very male-centric Star Wars fan base. It's absolutely possible to do that. The problem is you can't write, okay? That's the problem. Ahsoka suffers from that same crap, all right? You got to go back and watch 7 seasons of the Clone Wars and 4 seasons of Rebels just to get an idea of who Ahsoka is and why I should care about this character. There's nothing in that series that says, hey, you should care about Ahsoka and here's why. Nothing in that series. That's the problem that you're going to have, all right? And it's crazy because George Lucas made me care about Luke Skywalker in like 20 damn minutes. Like, he got right to it and he explained it. Ahsoka didn't do that. And I have a feeling this is going to be the exact same problem. You cannot write that one line of dialogue. That tells me everything I need to know about this chick. She can't write. You cannot write a story that's geared towards the fan base you're writing for. But yeah, to answer the question, can Star Wars be saved? Yes, it can be saved. It just can't be saved by these idiots, okay? That's really what it is. Anyway, folks, you guys let me know what you think. I know a lot of people that just don't understand Star Wars are starting to write Star Wars, all right? And the problem is that they're writing it through their lens with their garbage ideology. And anytime you want to pump garbage ideology into a franchise like Star Wars, you're going to run it right into the ground. But you guys let me know what you think. Jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.